Different date, same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Listen, I started Jake off and I'm gonna finish him.
Mike Tyson has brutally warned Jake Paul that he's ready to settle their score. While the fight was initially postponed due to Tyson's ulcer flare-up, Jake Paul took matters into his own hands by cancelling the bout and calling out Mike Perry instead. Typical Jake move, thinking he's the only one with a say in this. But he seems to have forgotten that Tyson has a voice too, and he's not happy about being sidelined. Now, Jake has to face the consequences. Tyson, known for being a slow-brewing pressure cooker, is ready to explode, and Jake has been turning up the heat ever since the fight was announced. The boxing world has been skeptical, unsure if this matchup was a legitimate fight or just another spectacle. Even the promoter of the event took to social media, pleading with Tyson to abandon the script and bring back the real, dangerous Tyson of old. Now it's clear Tyson isn't messing around, and Jake is in for a brutal reality check when the two finally clash. The Saudi promoter's encouragement for Tyson to ditch any scripted nonsense and genuinely go after Jake Paul has added a whole new layer of authenticity to this fight. It's no longer just about money or fame, it's about pride. Tyson, with his legendary career, has nothing to lose and everything to prove. Paul, despite his youth and cocky persona, knows he's stepping into the ring with a living legend, which is why everyone's wondering if this will be a legitimate fight or just another YouTube spectacle. At the recent press conference, things got even more heated as both fighters traded verbal jabs, creating an atmosphere so thick with tension you could cut it with a knife. Jake Paul, usually brimming with over-the-top confidence, seemed a bit shaken. Sure, his bravado was there, but there was a noticeable quiver in his voice as he tried to trash-talk Tyson. You could almost sense the fear. For a moment, it looked like things might explode then and there, despite all the hype. The skeptics and mounting pressure only highlight the jaw-dropping transformation Mike Tyson has undergone. Training videos of Iron Mike have flooded social media, showing that at 58 Tyson is defying every expectation. The man is an absolute beast, hitting the gym with the same ferocity that made him a legend in the first place. These clips have not only silenced many critics, but also sent a clear message Tyson isn't here to play games. The press conference itself was a spectacle. Tyson, with his intimidating presence, made it crystal clear that he's not taking Jake Paul lightly. His focus, seriousness, and determination were evident. He's ready to show the world that age is just a number. Meanwhile, Paul tried desperately to maintain his tough guy act, throwing insults and attempting to get under Tyson's skin.
Listen, I started Jake off and I'm gonna finish him.
But there was a clear undercurrent of fear. Paul knows he's up against a real fighter, and it showed. Tyson's determination couldn't have been more obvious. His responses to the media were sharp and direct, leaving no doubt about his intentions. He's been training like a man possessed, and the videos show a fighter who's not just fit, but outright dangerous. Mike Tyson's punches still pack a wallop, and his movement is surprisingly agile for his age. It's clear Tyson is in this fight to win, not just to entertain. The boxing community is buzzing with opinions about the upcoming fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. People can't stop talking about it. Boxing veterans and legends are chiming in with mixed feelings, making this one of the most debated events in recent boxing history. Take Teddy Atlas, for example. The renowned boxing trainer and commentator didn't hold back in his analysis. He emphasized that even at 58, Tyson's power is still a force to be reckoned with. Atlas highlighted Tyson's quick twitch muscle fibers and muscle memory, which haven't taken a break. He warned that the first few rounds could be especially dangerous for Paul, as Tyson's power and technique remain lethal. This caution from someone as seasoned as Atlas has added a serious edge to the fight, making everyone realize the real risk Paul is taking on.
The last things that go with a fighter is his power.
Yep.
I think this is a very dangerous fight for Paul.
Interesting.
I think he might be making a mistake.
On the flip side, there's Gilbert Arenas, the former NBA star, who's pretty worried about what might happen when Paul steps into the ring with Tyson. Gilbert Arenas has expressed real concern about Jake Paul's safety, even half-jokingly suggesting that Paul might need some protective steroids not to get stronger, but just to survive Tyson's ferocious punches. "I don't know if Jake's been hit yet," Arenas quipped, which paints a vivid picture of Tyson's still terrifying power. His
I don't know if Jake been hit yet.
comments underline the potential physical danger for Paul, and while darkly humorous, they emphasize the seriousness of the situation. Then there's Canelo Alvarez, the current pound-for-pound king in boxing, who added some humor to the conversation. When asked who would be a tougher challenge for him, Tyson or Paul, Alvarez playfully said he might need to fight both at the same time to find it challenging. His remarks subtly downplay the seriousness of Paul's challenge while still giving a
Boxing is not. It's not a joke.
It's no joke.
nod to Tyson's legendary status. Alvarez's humor brings a cheeky, refreshing perspective, suggesting neither fighter poses a real threat to someone of his caliber. As the fight draws closer, these expert opinions are shaping the narrative and building anticipation. The anticipation for this fight is sky-high, fueled by divided opinions from some of boxing's most respected voices. This isn't just another celebrity boxing match, this one has real stakes. Let's start with Jake Paul. Since entering professional boxing in 2018, he's been a controversial figure. Love him or hate him, he's made a name for himself. But stepping into the ring with a legend like Mike Tyson is an entirely different game. If Jake loses, especially by knockout, it could be the end of his boxing ambitions. Even he's admitted the risk. A loss to Tyson would wreck his credibility and likely cost him a large portion of his fan base. For Jake, this fight isn't just about proving he belongs in the sport, it's about keeping his career alive in a sport that doesn't easily forgive losses. On the flip side, Mike Tyson at 58 is fighting for his legacy. He wants to prove that he can still hang with the best, even at his age. His intense training videos show he's not here just for fun, he's serious about making a statement. The videos of Mike Tyson training on social media are pure fire. Tyson's last professional fight was in 2005, but he remains one of the most iconic figures in boxing. By taking on the much younger Jake Paul, Tyson aims to silence any doubters and cement his status as a timeless warrior. Public sentiment is overwhelmingly in Tyson's corner. Fans are rooting hard for Uncle Mike. It's not just about his skills in the ring, it's about his entire journey, filled with ups, downs, and redemption. The nostalgia factor is massive. People remember Tyson's prime and are excited to see him back in action. This fight carries emotional weight, making it more than just a sporting event, it's a cultural moment. And let's not forget the money. With backing from Netflix and the Saudi government, this fight is set to be a blockbuster. Netflix has invested a fortune ensuring top-tier production quality and a global audience, while the Saudi involvement highlights the event's international significance as they aim to bolster their profile in global sports. The fight promises massive pay-per-view numbers, with revenue expected to reach well into the millions for both fighters. However, the much-anticipated showdown has taken a wild turn, with Jake Paul cancelling the fight. Despite the chaos, fans are still buzzing, wondering if the fight will be revived or if this marks the end of a spectacle before it even begins. Jake Paul's sudden cancellation of the fight with Mike Tyson caused a whirlwind of reactions and speculation in the boxing community. At first, everyone was in shock. Jake backing out seemed unbelievable. But of course, Jake being Jake, he didn't leave us hanging for long. He quickly made another headline-grabbing move, reaching out to KSI as a potential replacement opponent, and to keep things interesting, scheduled a fight with Mike Perry. Jake certainly knows how to keep the spotlight on himself. The fight with Tyson, which was supposed to take place on November 15th, had been one of the most talked-about events, generating tons of media hype. Jake's sudden withdrawal raised a lot of eyebrows. Fans and commentators immediately started asking questions. Was Jake afraid to face a boxing legend like Tyson? Or was this a strategic move to avoid a potentially career-ending knockout? Theories flew everywhere, with people divided on his motives. In a surprising twist, Jake wasted no time finding a new opponent. His first pick was KSI, another YouTuber-turned-boxer with whom he has a long-standing rivalry. The two have a history of trash-talking and social media clashes, making KSI a natural choice for a high-profile bout. However, KSI wasn't interested, refusing the offer and leaving the door open for further speculation about Paul's next move. KSI, with his usual confidence and big mouth, basically laughed off Jake Paul's challenge, suggesting Jake was only interested in easier fights after realizing how daunting a matchup with Mike Tyson would be. KSI's refusal only fueled their ongoing rivalry, making things even juicier. With KSI out of the picture, Jake quickly pivoted to another contender, Mike Perry. The announcement of Paul's fight with Perry sparked mixed reactions. Mike "Platinum" Perry, known for his toughness and aggression, is a former UFC fighter with a reputation as a relentless brawler. Perry's transition to boxing has grabbed attention because, let's face it, the guy knows how to throw a punch. With 14 wins and 8 losses in the UFC, most of Perry's victories came by knockout. His style is all about pressure, heavy hands, and a willingness to trade punches, making him a dangerous opponent. Perry's background in MMA makes him a much tougher challenge for Jake Paul. Unlike Jake's previous opponents, mainly YouTubers and retired athletes, Perry has extensive experience in professional fighting, even if it's mostly in mixed martial arts. His striking skills and knockout power translate well to boxing, making him a credible threat to Jake's undefeated record. Perry's experience against high-level competition in the UFC brings a new level of intensity to the fight, far beyond what Jake has faced before. Jake's decision to fight Perry instead of Tyson seems like a calculated move. While Perry may not have Tyson's legendary status, his fighting pedigree presents a serious risk to Jake's perfect boxing record. Jake Paul's latest move has everyone talking. Some critics argue that by cancelling the fight with Mike Tyson, Jake is avoiding high-risk matchups that could damage his carefully crafted boxing persona. They claim Jake is more focused on protecting his image and brand than taking on real challenges. The shift from Tyson to Mike Perry might seem like a step down in terms of profile, but it's definitely not a drop in difficulty. On the flip side, Jake's supporters point out that Perry is a legitimate fighter with a proven track record of toughness and knockout power. They argue that fighting Perry is a smart move that balances risk and reward, giving Jake a credible opponent without the extreme danger of facing a boxing legend like Tyson. Perry's brawling style promises an exciting, competitive fight that appeals to both hardcore fight fans and Jake's massive social media following. As the fight with Mike Perry approaches, the boxing world is watching closely. This bout could either solidify Jake Paul as a serious contender in the sport or expose his limitations. Perry, with his aggressive approach and knockout power, is no easy opponent. If Jake manages to win, it would make a major statement, proving that he can handle experienced fighters and potentially quiet some of his critics. This is one showdown you won't want to miss. Jake has always been a master at keeping the spotlight on himself. So the real question is, will he manage to pull off another victory, or will history repeat itself like in his fight with Tommy Fury? Let us know your thoughts.